What's up, VC? I am back for a metal update. Long overdue metal update. Uh, I haven't given up on metal. It's just that I have so many varied tastes in music that it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to get stuff at a thrift store. And I always find plenty of stuff that I like there because I like the goofy stuff, the weird stuff. Uh, a lot of the stuff that you can find at Goodwill. But as far as metal, I usually have to spend more money, and I usually have to. What I usually do is I save up um, enough records over a course of ever how long it takes me to get that many to do a metal update. So I've got enough here to do a metal update, a little bit more than I usually show uh, in my metal update. So I'll quit saying that over and over, and I'll just show you the first one. Well, first let me show you this book that I picked up. This is volume 1. I'd shown volume 2 the other day in a video. This is volume 1, Custom Graphics. When I found volume 2, I thought, that's awesome, I have to get it, but I'll never find volume 1. Well, I found volume 1, and it was at half price too, half price books, and it was the same price as the other one, or it rang up that way. So now I have both of them, so that's awesome. So on to the vinyl. These first two, I'd showed one, it's been quite a while back now, it's before I moved. The title of the video was Final Update something, and Holy Grail. Actually, it was an unholy grail. And I've been wanting these other two ever since I got that one. I special ordered that one off of, I think it was Discogs. And I had the CD, and I used to have the cassette as a kid. One of my friends in high school, he bought it on a whim, just never heard of the band, and he hated it. So he asked me if I wanted it. I said, yeah, I want it, and of course, me being me, like I always have been, I instantly liked it, and it's been one of my favorite bands ever since. Who I'm talking about is Possessed, and this is their second album, Beyond the Gates. I ordered this off of Hell's Headbangers. Just on a whim, I thought I'll go on Hell's Headbangers and see what they have. I haven't been on there in a little bit. And just type in Possessed, and sure enough, they had it. And normally when they have something, it sells out like really quickly. And I tried to get these once before on Amazon and on Hell's Headbangers, and the ones on Amazon I think were really high priced, if I remember right. And then the ones on Hell's Headbangers just sold out instantly. I couldn't even get one. So this is their second album, Beyond the Gates. Possessed is considered by some to be the very first death metal band. So this one has a trifold, I guess you call it. And it opens like that. I'll have to take the record out here to show you how it opens. And then I'll show you all of that stuff. Lay that aside. So it opens like this. And I wasn't aware that it opened like this before I ordered it. Over there. It opens like this. And that's some really cool artwork there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Not only have I got another Grail, but a reissue is a lot easier to get than an original. There's the sticker. I think this original, or I think the original was on Combat Records. Anyone out there might know that for sure. I'm not positive. Here's it's on High Roller. This one is. There's some more stuff they offer, which came in the. And I'm talking about what I was talking about in the beginning was Seven Churches by Possessed. And then here's the lyrics, and this is the insert. This did not have the record in it. It has a separate sleeve for the record, and this is colored vinyl. And you got to choose the colors that you wanted. I don't even remember what this one's called. It sort of looks like black and white splatter, I guess, maybe, which is awesome. I mean, I don't really remember. I was so, you know, excited to find it and that it was in stock. I think there was, you could choose from black, black and red, which seems to be the ones. It seems to be the one I would have chose. I mean, it's possible they could have sent the wrong one. It's possible that I could have picked this one, not remembering. But, you know, I'm not complaining at all because this is a record I've wanted forever. And it also came with a poster of the cover art. And I had this on cassette too, back in, what was it, 87, 88, when it came out. I really wish I had those cassettes now because I'm sure, you know, that's something that's extremely hard to find. So, yeah, that's one of my grails, for sure. So I can mark that off the wish list after all these years. Possessed Beyond the Gates. And then, to round it out, I got Possessed The Eyes of Horror. You know, I had to get this. There was a couple versions of this. I want to say it was on Amazon, where you could buy these two separate, or they came in a gatefold. There was a double album, basically. I didn't really care which way to get it. I almost prefer them to be separate, but I'm not really that picky about it. This one's also on High Roller, and this is their last album. This is an EP, technically. It's got 5 songs on it. You got Jeff Becerra, Larry Lalonde, Mike Suss, and Mike Tareo. And Larry Lalonde, I think, is the guy that went on to be in Primus with Les Claypool. And then here's the vinyl, same as the other one, black and white splatter. Got a little bit of gray mixed in there. And then this one also has a poster of the artwork, as well as the Seven Churches one that I have that came. It's on High Roller too, and it also had the artwork and or poster, and you know, it's basically the same thing. So yeah, another Holy Grail, Unholy Grail. So glad to get these after all this time. You know, anyone that collects records, you know, you look for stuff and you look for stuff forever, and you think you're never ever going to find it. And you know, I would have never found these, or it would have been a lot less likely to find these in, you know, a record store. So I didn't have a problem ordering them. Plus, on Hell's Headbangers, you know, they have all kinds of stuff that you're never going to see in the store. Now, I will say that Everybody's Records in Cincinnati, I found quite a few records that's on Hell's Headbangers, thanks to Jason stocking the shelves, I guess. And then at Magnolia Thunderpussy in Columbus, I found some Hell's Headbangers records as well. And I also want to say that probably at Shake It in Cincinnati, I think I found some Hell's Headbangers records there too. So they do show up, but it's not like, you know, everything they offer on the website. So speaking of Hell's Headbangers, once again, this is an actual Hell's Headbangers record on their label, and the name of this band is Daya, Ofbolos, and this is their first album, and it's sort of a takeoff on the Exciter Heavy Metal Maniac album. The cover there, with the speaker and the blood and the sword and everything. If you're familiar with the Exciter record, you'd definitely get the reference. But I seen this, and this was something I wasn't aware of it. It's like, that's really awesome. I gotta have it. And by the way, this record I had picked up on at Everybody's Records on what they call Metal Effin' Saturday, Day of Death 2 was this one. And they put that on. This is the second one, like I said, and they had all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't normally see metal-wise. Here's the just black vinyl, black metal vinyl, actually, if you want to get technical. But yeah, I listened to this, and it's really good. I mean, so if they come out with anything else, I'll definitely be picking it up too. I mean, I just love the cover art and the packaging in general. So yeah, I hadn't got to talk too much about the Metal Effin' Saturday because I hadn't made a metal update yet. But you know, they have bands play, and they have drawings and giveaways, and they have a lot of stock of metal records. So if you're ever the next one that comes around, I'm not sure when, but if you see a post or see an event on the Facebook page, you really want to check it out. And Everybody's Records in general, it's always a great place to go. I always find all kinds of stuff. Never fails. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, when we were there were some records that came in that they let us flip through before they priced them, I guess. And I went ahead and picked up Great White, Once Bitten. I wasn't sure if I had this one, so I wanted to pick it up just because you don't see it a lot, and I didn't want to take the chance that I didn't have it. It turns out that I do have it already, but, you know, it was something that I wasn't sure of. And I knew I didn't have this one, Twice Shy, their second album, or actually it's their third album. Actually, I take that back. I think it's their fourth album if you count their EP. And I think the same day we were there, I think Kat picked up, it might have been a different day actually, but I think she picked up Great White's Hooked album, which is their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th album, I think, which I do not have that one. You've heard me say that in her videos before. She's into a lot of rock and metal, and you know, she has a lot of records that I don't have, but you know, it is what it is. We went to Plaid Room Records. I don't know how many weeks ago now it's been, and that's a store we hadn't been to in a while. Another great store. It's in Loveland, Ohio, and when we first went the first few times, they had just opened. They were a brand new store. This time it'd been a while, and they'd got a lot more stock in. They're always really nice there too, and I found this in the dollar bin, and I about fell over. It's a Sleep, the Clarity, and this was, or is, you can see the etching there on it. I'd never seen this record before. I have Sleep, Dope Smoker on vinyl, the reissue. I also have the original one with the original cover on CD, but I'd never seen this one before. And the reason, let me show you, the reason this was in the dollar bin is it has, I don't know if you can see that right there. See that little mark right there? Right there? It has a little mark on it there, and that's why it was in the dollar bin. So I did not care. You know, I seen that, it's like, what? So yeah, Sleep is a great band. If you're not familiar with them, they're on Southern Lord Records, and they're a definite doom stoner metal band. You know, and their album Dope Smoker is quintessential. You've got to have that one. Also, I think this was on Metal Effin' Saturday, I found this record, which is another one I've been looking for forever, and it's Grim Reaper, See You in Hell. And the funny thing about this was, Jason, the guy that, you know, puts on the Metal Effin' Saturday, he had the same shirt on that day. So I thought that was sort of a weird coincidence. But, so now I have their first 3 albums. I think that I'm missing, I think there's a 4th one that I'm missing. And then I think, yeah, Steve Grimmett has a new version of Grim Reaper. I guess he just recently got his leg amputated, and I don't know exactly if that's diabetic or what that's related to. And he performed his first concert after his amputation here recently. And he has a prosthetic leg, and he had a cane. So they have a new album out, or I'm assuming it's a new album based on that. And they had that at Everybody's too. Of course, I couldn't buy everything. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I really would like to go back and get, but that's an ongoing thing. And then also I found this. Once again, this is another one that Cat has had for a long time. I have the CD, but that to me doesn't count a lot of times if it's not vinyl. And I have their second album, but this one is the one I really, really wanted. Tesla, Mechanical Resonance. I had this on cassette when it first came out in 1986. And I love this album. I love every song on it. Played the crap out of it. The first single was Modern Day Cowboy. MTV played the crap out of that. And there's Tesla right there. And this is their heaviest album that I've heard. Now, I haven't listened to everything that they have, but this is the heaviest one. And it's also the most nostalgic one for me. Plus, it being their first album, like I've said numerous times, I think earlier albums by bands are usually the best. Some great songs on here, if you're not familiar with it, is, well, they're all great. But Modern Day Cowboy is a great song. Love Me is a great song. Little Susie, of course, which I guess that's a cover of someone else. I have to look it up. I can't remember the name of the original. Getting Better. It has an awesome intro to that song. I just love that. And We're No Good Together. It's a great ballad. But yeah, I seen these guys in concert back in the 80s. They opened for Poison at the Ohio Center in Columbus. And I was blown away. It was a great concert. Tesla and Poison. You know, I think it was it was either 86 or 87, so I think they were touring for that album, possibly. And I think Poison was touring for Open Up and Say Ah, I think it was. And then this here, once again, is another record that I'd seen it. We went 2 weekends in a row to Everybody's. One just to go, and then the following weekend was the Metal Effin' Saturday. And I'd seen it the first time, and I didn't get it. And it actually was there when I went back the second time. So it's like, okay, I got to have it. This is Driver. I used to have this on cassette years ago, too. You have, let's see, you got Robert Rock on lead vocals, Rudy Zarzo on bass, Tony McAlpine guitars and keyboards, and Tommy Aldridge on drums. Basically a super group. And I think this might only be the second time that I've seen this on vinyl. So I seen it, and I was like, yeah, I really, really have to have that. So, you know, a lot of these that I'm showing are records that's been on my want list. But a lot of these records I just assumed were, you know, they were always going to be on my want list because I was never going to find them. So if you go out looking for records long enough, you'll eventually find everything you're looking for. I mean, it might take years. You know, it might take months, it might take years, but you'll eventually find it. And thanks to Eli, he sold this record to me. We were originally going to trade, but I couldn't think of anything to trade. I'd seen people online show this. I have actually seen this at a record show once. And And I got to talking to him about it, and he says, I have that. Do you want it? What do you want for it? It's Aphrodite's Child, 666. And this is not really metal. It's sort of like experimental, avant-garde, sort of like prog rock. But nevertheless, it's a double album. It's very mysterious, very strange, and, you know, I like all that kind of stuff. This was originally going to be the cover to the album, and for some reason it ended up on the inner sleeve. And this was originally going to be, I think, red, and this was going to be white, or this was black and this is going to be red. Anyway, there was variations, and I don't know if those variations exist. But yeah, I seen this and it's like, yeah, I really have to have it. This is on Vertigo. It has the little swirly label there that the original Black Sabbath was on. Double album, like I said, and it says anyone who has intelligence may interpret the number of the beast it is a man's number. This number is 666. It's the Apocalypse of John 13:18, composed by Vangelis, and lyrics by Costas Ferris. Vangelis, if you know him, what he's most famous for that people would know is he did the theme song and the soundtrack to Chariots of Fire. So this was his first band, and I want to say that they only did this album and one more album, and this album was not released. It came out in 1972, but I think it was finished long before that, and it wasn't released based on, I guess, the controversy around it, if I remember right. But thanks, Eli. I really appreciate that. Once again, another one on my wish list that I can check off. The last one I have to show here is not really metal. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but I seen the cover and then I listened to a little snippet of it on my phone while I was there, and it's like, yeah, I really got to have that. It's called Los Alamos Grind, and it's just great artwork, and it's a compilation of different bands, and I don't know what else to say other than it's really good. It's sort of like let me show you there's the inner sleeve, and it's sort of like, I mean, there's different bands on here, so it doesn't all sound the same, but it's sort of like, I want to say, Spanish flavored at times. It's sort of garage rock at times. Also has a download card. It's sort of like rockabilly a little bit. So it's sort of a little bit of everything. And of course I'm all about that. Let me read some of the bands here. You got Johnny Knight, Eugene Blacknell, the Blazers, the Kings, the Dantels, the Sterlings, Dino and the Deltones, Royal Jesters, the Joy Rockers, Johnny K. Killens and the Dynamites. Some of the song titles are like Frenchie the Tickler, Hot Links, Slapstick, All Shucks, Soul Nitty Gritty, The Grasshopper Twist, Rock and Roll Guitar. But yeah, like I said, it's a great compilation. If you see this, you might want to pick it up if you like a little bit of everything, like I do. So I thought I'd finish it up with that one. Mostly a metal update, some prog rock in there and whatnot. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this ran a little long, but it was long overdue. Please leave me some comments and tell me if any of those records are on your list, or if you have any of those records. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. Much appreciated. And we'll see you in the next video. Probably something to do with vinyl, I'm guessing.